Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Kingdom Death Monster. So our newest recruits that we got from last year are Ran and Yuyuko. So with that information, let's go ahead and continue. One thing I forgot to do actually is go ahead and grab all this. There you go. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the usual stuff. We get endeavors. We get 6 endeavors because we had 4 survivors and 2 of them have Tinker. Okay. And alright, so next part is actually we gotta draw a settlement event again. So let's see what happens. Roll 1d20. 4. The Dark Dentist. A cloaked woman enters the settlement. All that can be seen beneath her hood is the sparkle of perfect teeth. She offers to improve the survivors if they are brave enough. Okay, so what this all does, you get the choice of 3 things, and each of them require certain gives you various benefits. So you can mend bones at the cost of either 3 bone or a skull, and that'll fix your shattered jaw. Monster Tooth Dentures gives you +1 permanent strength once per lifetime, but either costs 4 bone or 1 large flat tooth. And then there's Metal Jaw, which will give you, it costs 2 iron, and gives you the Metal Maw, which makes it so your fist and tooth attacks have sharp. I believe sharp, what that does is you roll additional 1d10 every time you attack, every time you hit, to see how much strength you get. It gives you an additional 1d10 strength, so it's pretty good. Now, note that Monster Tooth Dentures and Metal Jaw are marked with stars. Before gaining the benefits of Monster Tooth Dentures or Metal Jaw, roll 1d10 to see if the surgery was a success. There's a 20% chance you'll die, and if you die, you'll get a skull. Otherwise, there's a 30% chance that it will fail, and you'll get shattered jaw, and there's only a 50% chance for it to succeed. I'm kind of tempted for the +1 strength because we do have large flat teeth, but I would probably give it to Flandra or someone. But I don't want to risk Flandra's life, so I'm going to go ahead and pass on this. So, it was an interesting choice, an interesting opportunity, but nothing we really require. Next, we update deaths. Nothing happened. So, update timeline. So, we're now year 6. So, let's go ahead and pull that up. Timeline. Year 6 is the Armored Strangers. Alright. Here comes nothing. Go ahead and show this off. Here's the image. Those be the Armored Strangers. You are visited by enigmatic figures, fully enclosed in armor. They march silently through the settlement. The only noise is a metallic clang as they pause before each survivor and tap their lantern halberds against the ground. The survivors have no choice but to helplessly await their mute deliberation. Add Kingsman to the Nemesis encounter list. These strangers count people and take action based on the population total. We definitely don't have 7 or less population, so we're definitely going to be taking a destructive action. But this is an opportunity. If you did have low population, it would give you a benefit. Definitely, it'll get you the guidepost 100% of the time, which is a really good innovation. But otherwise, but the problem is you can't really. It's tough to keep that population low without risking the entire settlement, and the Armored Strangers will keep coming back. So that is something you have to deal with. All right, so first let's go ahead and roll 1d10 and see what happens. 3. The Armored Strangers wantonly execute survivors, suffer -5 population. You may resist to avoid this loss. What resisting means is we would fight a Kingsman right here, right now. You won't get any endeavors for it, and the settlement there will be no new settlement events or in the year won't advance. You'll just fight the Kingsman, and that's it. Now, fighting the Kingsman would mean you lose potentially 4 population instead. But something to note about Nemesis encounters is no matter whether you win or lose, the next time you fight that same Nemesis, it will be 1 level higher. So right now, if we look at our calendar, year 9, we're fighting a Kingsman, no matter what. Just like the Butcher, the Kingsman will show up and start wrecking our shit. If we resist right now in Armored Strangers, that Kingsman at year 9 will be level 2. And there's a pretty significant difference between level 1 and level 2. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go through. We're going to lose 5 population. This is also why I went ahead and named the unnamed characters, because obviously I'm going to have to weed out some of the people. So, 5 people we have to pick. Now the good news is, we're going to get 5 endeavors from this. Just flat out. Did I actually read the thing for it? Yeah, wantonly execute survivors. Yep, that's all that happens. So 5 population is lost. We're going to go ahead and lose. Wait. First of all, that's not the right number. We should be at 15 population. Sorry. No, wait, that is correct. Never mind, I'm an idiot. I'm not paying attention. I know why. Yeah, that is all correct. Sorry about that. So what we can do, I mean, we can make 2 of those be the males. So we lose 2 males. I'll bring us down to 14. Okay, now we got to get rid of 3 more. We can get rid of Mailing. Mailing has no stats. Everyone else here has at least 1 understanding because they are newborns. But Mailing does not have anything. So we'll go ahead and drop Mailing. Bye-bye, Mailing. Okay, they'll bring us down to a population of 13. And then we need to get rid of 2 more. So let's get rid of... Let's get rid of Lyrica and Merlin. So this brings us down to 9 females and 2 males. Kind of like almost how we started before. So we're down to 11 population. There you go. We rolled pretty low on that, so it was pretty bad either way. The other results is they'll kill your person with the highest courage, which would have been probably a tie, which I think means it's either they kill multiple people then, or they just randomize it. If you get high, no matter what, at least 1 person's going to die on a destructive action. But if you roll high enough, that 1 person that dies can potentially be impaled on a lantern halberd, which is an innovation you can get. But unfortunately, we did not get that. And wow, our population looks rather tiny now. Okay, so there you go. With that, we do get... Oh, can't do it that way. We'll do it this way then. Paste, 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 and paste. All right, there you go. All right, so in a couple of years, we'll be fighting a Kingsman, and I'll tell you right now, we're not prepared for it. We're not even close. Yeah, we're not ready for him at all. The Kingsman does have multiple crit locations, so that's the good news. But the bad news is you definitely want something like shields and stuff for fighting him, so that is something to take in consideration. But with all that said and done, let's go ahead and start our endeavors. We'll start with, of course, an innovation. So we'll spend 1 endeavor for that. And Oh, sorry, we don't have 9 innovations. We have 11. That's ridiculous. Or 11 endeavors. That's ridiculous. All right, so monster hide, a shank bone, and a monster organ. We do have symposium, so we can go ahead and roll for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that correct? Yes, there are 11 cards, so 40, 11. Reroll any duplicates. No duplicates. 1 is scrap smelting, 11 is cooking, so that's N-tier stuff for the lantern oven tier. 5 is face painting, and 3 is hovel. I'll go ahead and pull these up, just so we can go ahead and just take a quick discussion of them. So hovel is +1 survival and +1 departing survival, which is great. It also helps with childbirth stuff, like giving you access to saviors, which we want saviors. So we definitely want to get towards that. 1 is scrap smelting, which allows you to melt down scrap to make iron, and you can also spend 6 bone and 3 scrap to make the blacksmith, which is pretty much the top tier gear location. It's not really something we can take advantage of, though, so it's probably something we're probably going to wait much longer to get. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that. The other one was cooking, which +1 survival limit is good, but we don't have any other uses for it. Of course, having cooking can give you benefits on like other events, as you have seen before, but we don't really, until we start doing things like gathering, there's no point in working on cooking. The only other one that's of note is face painting, which does have some pretty good benefits. I believe this is a paint consequence. You can get yourself insanity with battle paint, but the other thing you can do is Founder's Eye, which can get you +1 to any rolls on the intimacy story event this settlement phase. Unfortunately, I mean, that would help ensure that we don't get, that double 1 again. But hovel will give us a much better benefit at the cost of a 1% chance of fail. So I think we're going to go for hovel. This will also get us access to hovel consequences, which will be a lot of things like hovel consequences will be bed, family, partnership. So a lot of the family stuff. Okay, so with all that said and done, I will add that to everything later. Our survival limit is now 4, and we get 3 departing survival. Pretty good trade. Okay, so we are down to 10 endeavors left. At this point, let's go ahead and do some stuff. Main thing we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna spend 3 hide and an organ. And we're making ourselves a leather worker, because we're going to need that soon. If we don't get that, fighting the Kingsman will be a gamble, to say the least. Alright, zoom in a bit. There we go. So, settlement locations, leather worker. Gets you access to the leather set. Every piece of the leather set is 3 armor. So if you have the full set, you'll also get an additional 1 armor to all hit locations. So that's 4 armor in all locations. There's also plus insanity items on this thing, as well as plus survival. There's also an ability on one other ability you can get where you can let you take a 1 space step after you finish your actions. The Hunter's Whip is a pretty good weapon, and it's a whip type weapon, so you don't get to see those too often. But the main thing we're definitely going to need in the future is round leather shield. Shields are a weapon, though they're not very good as a weapon. But if you have them in your gear grid, it gives you 1 armor to all hit locations. And you can also spend an action to block with your shield. So instead of attacking, you can spend an action to go defensive. And what block does is it will block the first attack that hits you. So if you want to be someone that's like really tanky, you definitely want a shield so you can dodge and block every round. Also, the main thing it gets us access to is if you have ammonia, you can start converting hides into leather at the cost of a single endeavor. So with this, we've got kind of the groundwork for showing off the for getting access to the higher level armors, and we definitely need to get some higher level armor. Okay, with the last pelt that we have, I'm going to go ahead and use that to go ahead and get ourselves that freaking vest again so we can get that taken care of. So we need it. Rawhide vest. Alright, so that's back. So someone can actually have full armor again. Besides that, what else we have left is 1 organ and 2 bones. Is there anything in particular we can do with 1 organ and 2 bones? If you said no, you would probably be mostly correct. If we can get a scrap, we can get another skullcap hammer, but that's not really something we need right absolutely now. We can get a fecal salve. I say that as like as if that's a normal sentence people would say. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I mean, that will ensure that the cat's eye circlet goes on somebody else, but besides that, though, there's not really much reason to do that. So that's a thing, I guess. It's also stinky, which has its issues. We can get another monster grease. That or we hold on to it. I don't think we need organs for anything, though. I think we'll go ahead and just hold on to the resources that we have left. So that is 2 bones and an organ. And that'll help out later. At the very least, it can be used as fodder for the next innovation we do. So at this point, the only thing we can really do now is spend more endeavors and see if we can get some childbirths going. So we'll do, well, yeah, that is something we can do. We can make sure we can get some understanding points and all that stuff. So let's do Flandra first and see if we can get her to trigger Tinker. So 1d10, natural 10. Okay, so we get intimacy. So for childbirth, population. At this point, let's go Chin and the insane. Well, actually, we'll go Chin and the male that has +1 evasion because I'm never gonna use him. So 2d10, we can pick which one we want. All right, that is +1 population. All right, so he uses up one of these. There we go. Just go ahead and mark this. There you go. We'll just tick it off as I go. All right, next, another 1d10 for Flandra. +1 survival. I'm doing this one at a time because I will be switching characters. 2. All right, so that gets removed. That gets removed. We lose 1 item, 1 resource, and that'll get Flandra understanding. 1 and gets her Tinker, and that will also trigger her insight. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the 1d10 for insight. It is a natural 1, which is going to do a lot of nothing for us. Insight. Yeah, all that does is if you innovate, you draw +1 card. But since we've already innovated, it is useless to us. Okay, let's go ahead and keep going. Now we're going to have Rumia roll for these, so we can get her to get Tinker as well. So 1d10. We have 6 endeavors left. So 1d10. All right, that's another intimacy. Same thing, Chen and the evasion male. That is a natural 10 and a 7. So this is how it works. 7 just gets you +1 population and a bunch of survival. 10 would usually get you 2 population, but this time, since we have a hovel now, on this special day, everyone remembers the birth of a very special child. Where she steps, hope flourishes. Birth of a savior. Alright, so we trigger Birth of the Savior. Here's Birth of the Savior. There's the image. really, I don't know how that guy got an arm in his throat. Anyway, Birth of the Savior. The way this works. The newborn vanishes from the loving arms of the settlement for a fraction of a second. In that second, it spends a lifetime in the domain of the ethereal dreamer and returns with a dream. Choose one. We can either dream of the beast, dream of the crown, or dream of the lantern. Dream of the beast will give you a permanent red affinity, which means you get a red box. And then you get the ability of keratosis. For each red affinity you have, one of your attack rolls hits automatically each attack. Then you have red life in exchange. In the aftermath, after gain 3 additional hunt XP. Oh, it's 3 additional hunt XP. I've been doing that wrong. You may not place other gear in your grid. Gain +1. Oh, you can't place other. There's some items that have the other keyword. You can't put those in your gear grid. Gain +1 strength with each age milestone. When you retire, you cease to exist. So saviors are really, really strong. They grow very quickly, but the moment they retire, they're gone, and they run out of age 4 times faster, essentially, because they get 1 experience for the hunt, and then they get 3 additional. So yeah, it'll be pretty brutal. For Dream of the Crown, you get green affinity, and then for every green affinity you have, you get 1 armor to all hit locations. And every time you level up, you get 1 evasion. And then there's Dream of the Lantern, which gives you blue affinity, and every blue affinity you have gives you makes your ranged weapons have additional range, and then your melee weapons have additional reach. And then every time you level up, you get +1 luck. I'm gonna go Dream of the Lantern for this one. So we'll go ahead and mark that down. 1 blue. And we'll figure out what to do with her. Essentially, I'm going to use her to get crits. That's the purpose of her. She's just going to get crits and just wreck things. The additional the reach with the weapons will just make it easier for her to interact with enemies. So that takes care of that. We have 5 endeavors left. We have a population of 13 now, so that's something at least. We still are using Rumia, and we lose 1 more resource. I'm going to go ahead and pick Bone. Yeah, I'll pick Bone. And Rumia will also get Understanding and Tinker. And we'll go ahead and roll for Insight right now. 4, that gets us +1 Endeavor back. So we're still at 5. Okay, at this point, Flandre's already capped out. Capped out, capped out, capped out. All right, well, looks like I will continue working. Let's get I'm going to use Yomu. Yomu has 1 understanding, so we'll just go with that. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just use I'm going to use Romelia for the rest of these. So 1d10 +1. That is an intimacy. Same thing, we'll use Chen and the unnamed. Alright, that's going to get us... That's just going to get us +1 population. So we'll add that to the list. Tick. Let's do it like that. Okay, let's keep going. So we're down to 4 endeavors left. That's another intimacy. That's another savior. I'm actually okay with having another blue, to be honest. So we'll have 2 blue. Okay, that brings us down to 3 endeavors. So yeah, now this is where the build that we've been going with, where we have Graves and Protect the Young. This is where we get things like farming a bunch of saviors to kind of help us gather equipment. And since saviors don't have a long lifespan, I don't mind them getting murdered usually. So granted, it doesn't happen. It's still pretty tough to get them, because even with 2 die rolls. But here we go. Let's keep going. We got 3 endeavors left. 7 is just +1 survival. 6 is +1 survival. And 5 is +1 survival. So no more from that. Okay, we're back up to a population of 15. We have 2 regular people and 2 blue saviors. So we'll be adding them to the list. At this point, all we have left is 1 bone, I think. No, we have 1 organ left. We have a screaming brain, which we will just carry over. We do have a bunch of tinkers, so we can definitely take them along. But more than likely, we're going to take one of the saviors with us and go hunt some antelopes, which I think will be a pretty good thing for us. Right now, she doesn't really get much plus luck, though, so she's just going to kind of just help out with through other means, I guess. Besides that, yeah, I think that's about it. At this point, we can actually have someone, be geared up and ready to go. Yeah, I'll figure out something next time. So I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this was Kingdom Death Monster. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. See you guys later.